Welcome to the London Free Press Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Gilbert. London has been anxiously awaiting an influx of new jobs as the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board plans to move some of its offices here, including 500 jobs. But London Free Press reporter Norman De Bono has found out the offices may not go downtown as originally expected, which is causing some worries and tensions, of course, here in the city. So today I'm talking with Norm about what we know so far and why some downtown developers and merchants aren't too happy. Hi, Norm. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you, Rachel?
I'm good. We always love having you on the podcast with us. Let's start with why WSIB is coming to London. We've known that they are coming for a while now, but what was the reason?
I think that it seems it's happened with other governments as well, but every so often governments think they're going to decentralize. They're going to sort of move their staff out of expensive real estate in Toronto and move them to cities which could use a shot in the arm. It's a way of supporting office sector in outlying communities and smaller communities, which of course needs good government or could use good government jobs. And for the government, it's a way of saving money. They can sort of either sell or end leases on very costly Toronto area, GTA area real estate. So it's a bit of a win-win. The only challenge there, often the challenge there for the governments is making sure that the workers follow. Some of the people who are in Toronto offices may not want to come to Windsor or London or Waterloo or Hamilton, wherever. So there's often some sort of a displacement there in the workforce that has to be sort of reconciled. But in the case of WSIB, which is coming to London, and we certainly know that, there are a lot of those jobs may be sort of work from home. There may be some that don't or physically arrive here. They say many will, but many may be work from home. So we don't quite know yet what the background is. But Monty McNaughton, the Minister of Labour and a regional MPP, suggested that there could be as many as 500 jobs of WSIB locating here in London as a cost-saving measure and also to support the city.
Okay, so some of those will be vacant, some may not be.
Yeah,
it's
we
not
don't
like
know
they're
yet.
hiring 500. We don't know. Yeah.
No, they won't be hiring 500. They're going to be moving people from existing offices in like maybe in London. London, they have several. They have quite a large department here, but there's workers in Waterloo, in Windsor, in Toronto. So we're not sure what the breakdown is as to how many will work here. We're not sure yet what the breakdown is of how many will be work from home and how many will actually be physically here. But we do know that they're looking at significant office space. So that's
we've had a lot of local politicians call these jobs recession proof. What does that mean? And does it mean much if we're not hiring very many Londoners?
Yeah, I think it does mean something. It means that if there is an economic downturn, which of course happens cyclically, it's not like a manufacturing job. It's not like a retail job. It is going to, no matter if there's a lot of sales or there's economic growth, these are funded by tax dollars, so they're going to endure. And they also are necessary services. I mean, governments occasionally go through downsizing themselves, where they want to reduce the scale of government, and in those instances, positions are often cut, reduced. But that's the only time they really are. So if the economic ups and downs of a community don't matter if it's a government job. They will endure, and it's nice. I mean, it's only 500 jobs, which is a sizable chunk, but it's not sort of keep a city afloat if there's an economic downturn. But it's a nice little win. It's a nice win.
So WSIB had been looking at downtown for offices. They had been touring several places already. But you got a bit of a scoop this week in that they may not be downtown.
Well, it's calling it a scoop is very flattering, but it's almost an open secret. Like everyone in town is talking about how as soon as they sort of inked the deal to buy the WSIB building on Tartan Drive, which is just off the Veterans Memorial Parkway, near the city's airport, near the city's edge. People have been talking about it ever since because it's widely known. So I mean, it's hardly an investigative piece, but it is what it is. So it's caused a real controversy, a real furor, because people were thinking, well, 500 jobs downtown, like we have a massive vacancy rate downtown, 27.7, nearly 30% of that's almost more than 1 in 4, nearly 1 in 3 office spaces are vacant in the core, and in the suburban market, which is outside the core. it's growing. It's only like I think like a 7% or 9% vacancy rate there. So they've grown substantially. That's where office jobs are migrating to, and so downtown support is badly needed. And a lot of people who support the downtown, especially in the real estate sector, are saying this would be a great win to have these drops downtown. But it looks like it's not going to pan out that way. So a lot of people are angry. They're very angry, and they're angry at the municipal council, the city council, for perhaps not doing enough to advocate for the downtown. They're mad at the province for agreeing to do this. But there's a general sense of anger because the downtown is in such tough shape. I mean, we all know that it has a homelessness problem, it has a mental health problem, it has an addiction problem. The streets are torn up with construction now it happened for several years in a row, and will continue to be. And it's not just you used to be able to say, well, it's construction, it's bad now, it'll be fine. It seems like it's perennial, and it's going to go on.
Exactly.
Of rapid transit construction.
Anybody who's gone downtown, or anyone who has a business downtown, knows how bad it can be with homelessness issues, and the construction alone, right?
So, I mean, 500 jobs would have taken up an entire floor of a large plate floor of a building downtown, or several floors of a smaller building. I mean, it's not going to save or kill the downtown, but it would have been helped. But even more importantly, it would have been a symbol. It would have been a symbol that the city and the province and governments are advocating, supporting, doing what they can for the downtown. And there's a real concern now that people that really, especially people involved in commercial real estate who are selling the downtown, will hear, why should I go downtown? Even the government won't go there, and the city won't advocate for it enough. So it's causing a real backlash, and people are angry, and they're worried. They're worried that, I mean, there's been hundreds of millions of dollars pumped, of city tax dollars, pumped into the downtown. When you look at the convention center, the Covent Garden Market, Dundas Place, Budweiser Gardens. I mean, these are major developments over decades intended to support and build the downtown. And all of a sudden, it is still slipping away despite all that.
We've for decades talked about revitalizing downtown. My entire life, I'm sure we've talked about that here in London. We're revitalizing downtown. We're revitalizing. Yeah. And it just doesn't seem to it's never going to be done, right? Like it's never finished.
I'll be celebrating 30 years at the Free Press in the spring. And one of the first series I did as a reporter here was the build of the convention center and how that was intended to revitalize the core. Yeah. And I've been doing this story ever since, like everyone else.
Now, this isn't like 500 jobs, as you said, is not make or break, but there have been some kind of critics of WSIB moving to the suburbs saying this is going to deteriorate the downtown. Like, is that being a little overdramatic?
No, I don't think it is. I think there are 2 points to be made there, and I think it's a very serious one. Okay. In the sense that there are WSIB workers now downtown. They're on Fullerton Street in an office building. And the suggestion is, and I can't get a read on how many, but there are a lot. And those people are going to move to the new office. So if those jobs are consolidated to the suburbs, which I hear they will be, then it's a real loss for the downtown. But the biggest loss is symbolically. It is what I said earlier, is the fact that it would have been a symbol of support for the core, and it would have been a signal to other businesses looking at space that downtown is a viable option. And now, if a business is looking to lease space, they know, why should they go downtown when even the government won't go there and even the city won't fight for it? So now I say the city won't fight for it with a sort of grain of salt, because Mayor Josh Morgan, who I spoke to about this, and other members of council, there are 2 members of council that toured downtown sites with members of WSIB, and the London Economic Development Corporation did as well. And they said that they pushed the downtown. They wanted to sell the downtown. They promoted it. They did what they could. But ultimately, the decision is with WSIB. I spoke to 2 major downtown landlords, the 2 most prominent landlords downtown. That is Sifton Group, Richard Sifton. And of course, I talked to Shmuel Fari and Jim Bajuvis, who is the president of Fari Developments. They were on those tours. They pushed the downtown aggressively. Sifton has Class A office space in one London place. They have other space on Dufferin Avenue as well in the city that's available if they wanted something less costly. They have ample room, and so does Fari. And so there was a suggestion that some of the lobbying from business groups may have been too aggressive. I don't know if that's fair. How do you too aggressively say, oh,
Hey, we've got this space. Please rent
please
it.
don't
You
rent
know, of course you're
it.
going to do that.
I
Right.
can hardly blame them for that. So,
Sure.
I mean, I think a lot was done. I think, but the concern is, was enough done? And we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
The city says they did. Politicians said they did. I
Mm-hmm.
talked to the Capel at the LEDC. He said they did whatever they could. I spoke to downtown landlords who said that they're frustrated that they sort of pushed it as far as they could. So the real question is why. The real question,
Mm,
which you can't really get a straight answer to, and only WSIB, who, by the way, the CEO of WSIB is a London guy.
mm,
Um, uh, they can only really answer as to why, and they're not going to give us a straight answer until it's officially announced at the end of the month.
sure.
This is all off the record. So I'm hearing from some sources that they really like the location of the 401. 401, yeah, VMP there, Veterans Memorial Parkway. It's easy in, easy out, fast access. So because not all people are going to move here, some are going to be commuting, and the commute, it's a
Yep.
very easy commute. And
Yeah.
if someone from neighboring communities, that's much easier for them, which is that's a valid
Yeah,
point.
for sure.
Getting in downtown, not easy, as driving in and out of the 401. So
Hmm.
there's that. That's a valid concern. Is that enough? I don't know. I don't
Don't
know.
know. What do we know about them taking the 3M building? It's not for sure yet. We won't find out till the end of the month, but it's
Well,
probably
it's
going to
not
happen.
officially announced, but I understand that they bought it.
Yeah. Okay.
WSIB bought the building. It's been a sale. I also understand there's 50 acres around, or a lot of acreage. I think 50, but I'm not sure about that. Around it, that's part of the deal. And there's an interesting sort of sideline developing around that issue. So,
Hmm.
um, I think they bought all of it. They won't use all that office space, so we don't know what else it's going to be used for. There
Sure.
is talk about maybe some sort of an educational job training center opening on site, which is part of a WSIB platform. That would be a win for the city, like Fanshawe College and the LEDC, maybe
Hmm.
involved in developing a job training or workplace training program for WSIB recipients on site. That would be nice. That would actually be salt in the wounds, though, because it would be great to have that downtown. But the
Yeah.
fact that it opens out there would also be compelling. There's also some discussion. These are just rumors right now, but there's so much land that comes with this deal that WSIB doesn't want it all, that they're going to flip it to the city, and the city is now going to look at developing that for industrial development, which is badly needed. We badly need land
Hmm.
to industry on, and we're getting a lot of interest in manufacturers and industry across all sectors, certainly because of the Volkswagen plant going to St. Thomas in 2027.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
and I have discussed before. So there's talk that may be a double win for the city in the sense that they could get industrial land for this for development, and also get a workplace training program at WSIB, which would be good, but like I
But
say,
we don't know. I mean, it sounds like a overall a win for London, but for the
yes,
downtown, a lose for the downtown specifically, obviously.
it's a win for London because it's jobs here,
Yeah.
and if they have a job training center on site, that's nothing but good. And if we get industrial land for development, well, that's even better. That's icing on the cake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, it's as sweet as that is. It's salt in the wounds of downtown, because it's like how great would it have been to get all that momentum for the core area, which really does need space. I mean, as well as homelessness and housing issues in the core, as we've talked about, poverty and mental health issues. There's been a significant work from home migration since the
Yeah.
pandemic,
Hmm.
and a lot of office workers haven't returned, even when businesses are still downtown. I was at an event recently at Infotech Research Group, which is a large tech firm opened in the downtown, and Phil McLean, bought two buildings, put them together, did a significant amount of renovation in the, I think more than $10 million worth of renovation. And then the pandemic hit, people went home, and people aren't coming back. And he's made it optional to work from home. And they have this beautiful state-of-the-art building downtown that's
Hmm.
empty every day. So that's a case in point that it's not just economic, it's not just social factors, but it's the fact that people have not returned to the workplaces
Yeah.
as they did before. That's really exacerbating that. But
We're
WSIB,
changing how we work. We're changing how, things have changed, unfortunately. So,
so this is all talk right now, and it's from sources say it's going to be made official by the end of the month.
okay.
So we will see, and maybe we'll follow it
Okay.
up.
Yes. Well, we will. We're certainly going to be watching your reporting on lfpress.com, and we know you'll have all the answers for us. Thank you, Norm.
I don't know about that. I'll try.
Oh,
Rachel,
you
always a
always
pleasure.
do.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Norm.